The wristband that didn't fit the night I wore her alibi at 9:37 p.m. I was looking for lip balm in the front pocket of my wife's gym bag when my fingers found rubber. Not a resistance band. A silicone bracelet, soft and medical, the kind you forget you're wearing until a shower reminds you. It was sea glass green and stamped with white letters, Solace Hotel and Spa. On the inner seam a date, tonight. On the outside in tidy sans serif, guest +1. Maya had left an hour earlier for a late session. Work had been loud in her mouth all week. Deliverables, revisions, clients who thought urgency was a personality. She kissed me at the door in the style of a good citizen and said she might stop by the gym's sauna if the spin class didn't kill her. Then the door took our ordinary air to other rooms. I turned the band around in my hand. Solace was the boutique hotel with eucalyptus ambitions, the place we'd once escaped to when our kitchen ceiling peeled in February. The spa desk had given us matching bands then, gray for guests, green for +1s, and pointed at a tray of orange slices like they were a bribe. The memory made my mouth taste like clean water. I slid the wristband on. It fit, but not the way it was supposed to. Loose. It was sized for Maya. I took it off and set it beside my keys. I could have waited, asked gentle, put the burden on my best voice. Or I could check whether I was inventing a story that wasn't there. I picked the cowardice that looked most like courage and grabbed my jacket. On the drive, I tried on explanations like shirts. Maybe Solace hosted a networking thing. Maybe guest +1 meant friend crashed the sauna and I honored the rules. Maybe I'd become a husband who needed evidence to breathe. The streetlights kept their opinions to themselves. The lobby was all vowels, O's of armchairs, a U of the concierge desk, a wow of the ceiling skylight. Chill music did calisthenics under fake birdsong. At the spa reception, a woman with a headset and a voice that belonged on airplanes smiled at my wrist and said, "Back with us," like habits were a loyalty program. "Left my book the other day," I said. "She's meeting me." I lifted the band a fraction and hoped lying in present tense counted as effort. "Robes are on the left," she said, her smile not interested in my biography. Eucalyptus wrapped my face like a polite ghost. The spa had zones, a lounge lit like secret compliments, a pool with a blue that promised your joints a truce, a glass door marked sauna in a font that had never yelled. People moved like they'd been told nothing terrible could happen under steamed light. I didn't see Maya at first, only the parade of terracloth and orbiting smiles. I took a robe from a cubby and shrugged into it. The belt made a knot that looked less confident than I wanted to be. I walked to the pool like a man going to the water to forgive himself. She was at the far end, toes on the tile, laughing at something a man said. He had swimmer's shoulders and the kind of face that did well on both sides of a camera. His wrist wore the same sea glass green as mine. He gestured, and she tipped her head, and the kind of intimacy that fits inside laughter spilled out between them like oil on a calm sea. I stopped moving because I didn't know how to do it without making a noise. I am not a man who flips tables. I am not a man who creates an audience because he's run out of answers. I sat in the lounge and watched the edge of the pool like it owed me information. A server drifted by with small cups of clear tea. I took one because my hands needed something warm to rehearse being kind with. The man said something and walked toward the sauna. Maya rested her palms on the tile and the wristband across the counter. "Returning a +1, I said. The receptionist scanned it like it was a library book with feelings. "There's a replacement fee if you keep it," she said, automatic and kind. "We don't need a souvenir," Maya said. We walked through the lobby's vowels into ordinary air. Outside, the night had dropped 5 degrees and gained honesty. We didn't rush to the car. A fountain preached moderation to a couple arguing under their breath. The city did its trick with light on wet pavement. "Come home," I said, careful to keep it an invitation and not a verdict. "We'll write rules we actually want to follow." In the kitchen, we didn't perform. She put her phone face down and then, after a beat, face up, like the difference mattered. I took a pen and the back of a takeout menu and wrote a list with the frenzy of someone just now remembering verbs. 2 Thursdays a month sacred. Phones honest unless privacy is a gift, not a hiding place. Arguments with nouns. One dance class, one cooking class, one place to be stupid together. We both laughed at that last one and circled it twice. Therapy, she said. I don't want to be interesting in there, I said. I want to be practical. Good, she said. I'm done being a plot twist. We made tea. We sat on the floor because chairs felt ceremonial. She tucked her feet under my thigh and leaned back against the fridge. YouTube would have been fine with the rest. We kissed like economics, supply finding demand. I put my hand on her jaw and she made the small sound that means a person is choosing to stay. In the morning, I woke to a calendar invite titled Thursday, Don't Be Boring. In the notes, bench, bookstore. No questions we already know the answers to. I accepted. I put a heart emoji next to it like a silly, grateful intern. At lunch, I bought 2 community center vouchers from a website with drop shadows that hadn't been fashionable since our first lease. That evening we stood in a multi-purpose room under fluorescent honesty, while a woman with a whistle and mercy taught 12 adults to pretend we'd always known how to step left. I stepped on Maya's toe. She laughed like a person reprising a favorite line. We weren't good. We were trying. A week later, a white envelope with no return address arrived. Inside, you didn't have to make it weird. No apology, just an injury performing as etiquette. Maya read it, set the kettle on, and fed the corner to a match. We watched the paper curl like a question mark, then a period. She blew it out like a birthday. We went back to solace together once. The desk attendant slid 2 bands across the counter, gray, not green. Guest, she said like a conjugation. The pool was the same blue. The eucalyptus had not learned new tricks. Evan was not there. It didn't matter. We sat on the edge with our feet in the water and spoke in ordinary verbs. When we left, we returned the bands. No souvenirs. We kept our list instead. At home, the gym bag lived where it always had. The front pocket held lip balm and chapstick and the small emergencies that visit without appointments. The silicone band I'd worn that first night didn't live there anymore. It lived nowhere. Sometimes late, when the apartment is quiet and the building hums like an old fridge remembering winters, I wake and reach for her to be sure she's here and I'm not inventing a generous ghost. She turns toward me even in sleep. I put my hand on her shoulder and think about the words printed on cheap rubber, guest +1. I don't want to be an accessory again. I want to be a noun in the sentence. On the next Thursday, we walked to the bookstore and argued about a poem that wasn't trying very hard. We sat on the bench and split a pastry that wanted to be a meal. I said, "Kiss me like a decision," and she did, under the polite neon letters that spelled the name of the bakery. It was PG-13 and sincere and better than any spa. On the way home, she threaded her arm through mine and said, "I want to be noisy." "Please," I said and meant it. The city agreed by not interrupting. We went upstairs and practiced a louder kind of quiet, the kind that doesn't need an alarm or an audience. The kind that makes a list on the back of a menu and keeps it where we can both reach for it when the air forgets how to be kind.